Hello again, Instagram and Facebook, just as the applause is happening. So I'm applauding mentally for all our beautiful workers. So welcome. I'm going to teach a nice restorative class for you, and with all the props, I don't know if you can see, I think you can see more or less. So what you'll need is something that looks like a big bolster pillow from your couch, or just like a few pillows from your bed, 2 blocks or 2 books, preferably the same size, a blanket, and maybe also 2 little pillows. But just go around the house and see whatever you can find as I'll introduce this class. So I'll be putting you in a moment in my tripod. So this class is really to soothe the nervous system and to, hi everyone, and to create more immunity, because only when we can fully relax into rest and digest mode is when our immunity is built. But also in just a very simple way, this is such a good practice when we feel like everything's falling apart around us, right? Because we're fully supported in these poses, we're fully able to relax because we feel supported, so we don't have to do the work ourselves. And that's really just on a nervous system level, it's really great, but also on a mental level, just to really let go into support instead of having to do it ourselves. So as you get your props ready, you can also do it with less props, but I'm advising you to do it with these. I'm going to turn you around so you have better image, I think. Let's see if this works. It's always a little tricky with my phone that's broken on one side. That's for the image. I think this is good, right? Let me know if you can't hear me well. You can't see me yet, but you will hear me. You will see me in a moment. Right? And then just going to make sure that I'm also visible here. Yeah. We're going to start standing. So you can stand anywhere. We're going to move just a little bit before we go into restorative poses. I find that more relaxing than just kind of sinking in straight away, because it's quite, hard to let go after maybe a full day of thinking or whatever you've been doing, sitting, worrying, whatever it was, playing with your kids. So feet are slightly wider than hip distance, knees are bent just a little bit. You're not going all the way beyond the line of your toes with your knees, just a little bend. And then place both hands on your lower belly. And if you like, you can even create a little triangle with the thumb and index finger, pointing the index fingers down. The rest of the fingers are just next to the index finger. Close your eyes. This is a very grounding mudra. And since we also have a full moon tonight, which usually brings more accelerated energy, more intensity, we're really going to focus on letting the energy just flow down from the head towards the earth, instead of staying up into the ethers, into our thoughts. And if you hear some music sounds around us, we usually have quite quiet neighbors, but today they decided to play music, so that's outside. Take now a few deep breaths into the place of your hands, really big belly breaths. And can you feel also when you inhale that the belly expands, and when you exhale, you feel this little contraction of the belly, just a little. You can make that slightly bigger. And as you keep on bending the knees slightly, can you lift the crown of the head away from your knees? So you're not sinking down into the lower back. You keep this brightness in the chest. 3 more breaths. You don't really need any special kind of breathing technique for restorative yoga, as long as it's long and deep. So breathe down into the belly. 1 more breath. Keep the breath really deep. My voice is gone for some reason. And shake through the arms. And begin to shake through your legs, your buttock, your shoulders, even your hair and your face. Shake a little bit. Good. And now inhale, keep bending the knees, lift the arms all the way up into the sky. And exhale, hands come through the center as you're pressing the air, the energy down. And then from the feet, rising up through the heart, through the fingertips. Exhale, press the air and the energy down. Inhale, reach, 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 reach. And exhale. One more time. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Good. Now hand, and this is different. I can't really mirror because it differs on Facebook and Instagram. Left hand on your left waist. So it might look for some of you that it's on the right. Lift the right arm up, inhale. And then open the side body. Opening up the right side waist. Keep rolling the chest up to the sky. Deep breath in. And exhale, come back up. Bending the knees a little bit. Right hand onto the hip or sideways. Lift the left arm up, inhale. Really reach out of the lower back and then exhale, go over to this side. Roll your chest open, so avoid hanging forward. Roll, lift the chest open. And exhale. Good, one more standing move. Lift the arms up, inhale. Make sure you're facing the top of your mat. Exhale, bow all the way forward towards the earth. I'll adjust the screen. Take a few breaths in your forward fold. I'm just going to check it's still visible. I think so. And you can take any position with your hands. You can hold onto the opposite elbows. You can have the arms down. The head is heavy. Bend your knees so you can really drape the belly onto the thighs. Maybe a little sway serves you tonight. Maybe steadiness serves you better. We'll get into the steadiness for sure, but feel what works for you here. And then moving back to the knees, hands and knees. And also here, circle around or swirl around, or maybe you just need little shifts. You need more steadiness. So the only way that yoga is healing for us is when we adjust it to what we need instead of just doing whatever I'm saying. So within the river banks that I'm creating for you, please adjust and create different shapes or different movements. For a restorative practice, it's a little bit different. I'll give you options, but please stay within those options. Keep on breathing deeply. And then step your left foot forward. This is our last movement before we start to meld into restorative yoga. And also here, you really just kind of shift, circle around, or you stay steady. So it's up to you. Again, breathe into the hips, into nature with my head. Good. Breathe, long, deep breaths. So the reason I'm stepping forward with the left first is that it's the lunar side of the body. Bring that left knee back. Very simply stepping the right foot forward. So I find that over the years, I've moved away more and more from any kind of, maybe even call it interesting poses or funky, I don't know, intense poses. And I'm coming more and more into this very simple yoga. And restorative yoga is one of those wonderful gifts of very, very simple, but super profound yoga at the same time. One more breath. And then release, bring that knee back, walk your hands forward, and keep your hips on top of your knees. Release the forehead down. And then come onto the belly. And take a moment here to fully let go into the earth as a preparation for our restorative practice. Palms of the hands together, forehead down. And bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press up and back. And set up for your first restorative pose. I'm keeping a sweater on usually in restorative yoga. You might feel warm now, but usually we will cool down once we settle in. So anything, if you haven't got it yet, just go around the house, find something that looks like blocks. You can also fold blankets really tightly. As long as it's kind of sturdy, you can also use books. And I'm going to use one, probably on the middle, but you can have it on the highest as well. So this is the middle, this is the lowest. I'm going to have middle. This is one of the poses that I almost always practice with restorative yoga. I have some new poses for you as well, so don't worry if you've practiced with me before. So this is restorative Baddha Konasana, reclined bound ankle pose. And I'm using the bolster on the block. I'm using a blanket for my head and my neck. And I don't know what that is, ghost. And I'm using 2 pillows underneath the knees. I'm going to show you 2 variations. Really make sure you choose the variation that works for your knees. If neither of those work, I have a third one. So let's try. We're going to sit right behind the bolster. I think it's just the door not completely closed. Sorry about that. So right against the bolster with your lower back. And then you're going to lift yourself off the ground a little bit. You can't even see. Bring the tailbone forward and then come down. So you might now feel like, oh my God, this is really far away. This is a big back bend for me. If that's you, you simply lift your bolster, put the block on the highest position. If you feel like, okay, that doesn't feel like anything after a minute or so, you can bring it lower on the lowest position. So right against the bolster with your lower back, lifting up a little bit, tailbone towards the back of the mat. And then Baddha Konasana with your pillows or rolled up blankets or whatever you have, even a scarf rolled up. And I always need more for my head. If I wouldn't use this, my chin would be a little bit too high. So this is option 1 or 15. It's not really in order. It's just variation. So this is an option. If this doesn't work for your inner thighs, for me it doesn't without the pillows. Like this it does. But if it doesn't, cross your shins and take this variation, making sure the lower back is still supported. You're not having a lot of space there. If neither of those work, straight legs, and you're still going to benefit from the back bend. So this is also an option. You can even use your pillows like this. So find the option that works for you as I check the connection. And then we'll simply meld into it. I think you can see, yes. And then can you really find as much support as possible? So you can also put more underneath the arms. You can put a blanket on your belly or your whole body for warmth and relaxation. If you have a freshly washed sock, you can put it on your eyes or an eye pillow. And then release into the shape. And we'll stay here for a few minutes. And all you have to do is relax here. I'm not going to guide you into anything specific. The whole idea is that you have the space and silence to release, to relax. Now, next inhale, be deeper and longer. Next exhale, completely out. If the knees are bent, you can help them back together, outer thighs, hands on the outer thighs. If the legs are straight, bend the knees. And then roll over to your right side, come up, and take a moment between poses, between shapes to feel. We're not analyzing, we simply feel the afterglow of that pose. And then our second shape, we'll keep the same setup, maybe a little lower. And you might still need your blanket. I will again show you options. So like this is probably what most people will enjoy most because we're gonna fold forward. So you want something to have your forehead on so that you can breathe with your nose. You can also have one cheek down without the blanket. So you also have two options here, or actually more, but I'll show you two. And one is simply a restorative version of child's pose, which is very nice. It's called sometimes tiger in a tree. If you feel it's very intense to sit like this, you can bring blanket or pillow or something between the heels and the buttock. If it's very intense for the instep, here you can put your pillows underneath the instep. If that doesn't work and you're like, oh, I'm not going to relax in this, what you can try is have more of a Baddha Konasana shape. This might create another intensity in the inner thighs, which means you simply put your block closer to you and your bolster closer to you, and then you still might want to have your blanket like this, releasing the arms wherever they can relax. So this is an option, and the other option is restorative child's pose, and for that most people need a little bit of a lower position with the block. What you want to make sure is that you have the whole upper body supported, belly supported on the bolster, not just the face or part of the chest. So I'm going to go for child's pose. Either of those are forward fold, just a slightly different sensation. Forehead can be on the blanket, or you can have one cheek down. And if you're doing that, choose a cheek that you usually don't use, because we're not going to change between sides. It takes usually people out of the practice, so I'm not going to do that here. Making yourself as comfortable as possible. If you want more grounding, you can also put a blanket or something on the lower back, eye pillow on the lower back, and then just really melt into this again. And if you can hear the music, it's not very restorative yoga music. I can't change anything about it, unfortunately. The windows are already closed, so if you hear it, you can turn the volume down a little bit. And you might have a similar experience with your neighbors, and let it be part of your practice to simply observe that this is there, life happening around you. We're not trying to create a mountaintop. We are still maybe immersed in the city, immersed in life, which is good. Take a next deeper inhale and a full, complete exhale. And then beginning to press yourself up from this shape. Dan kun je controleren of het eraan ligt, alsjeblieft. Bij jou, want het is echt heel belangrijk. Yeah. I was just going to check the window actually closed. It's a lot of music. Let's take a moment, even the anthem. Take a moment to observe. And then coming out of your seat for almost an inversion. In a way, it will feel like an inversion, but it will be very intense, I promise. This is called Stonehenge, and you're literally going to create that. So if you have books, make sure that it's kind of the same height. If you don't have the same height, put another little book on top of it. If you have yoga blocks, you simply put your bolster like this, so you have Stonehenge in front of you now. And the only tricky thing is sometimes the lower back. So I love all the hearts on Facebook. The lower back sometimes feels a little sensitive here. So you have to play around a little bit with your blanket. I like to put it not all the way underneath the lower back, because then it creates more like a flattening, but more middle and lower back. So, but this is very different for everyone, I've experienced. So I'm putting it here, and I'll just check how it's gonna feel once I'm in it. All right, everything good still. So I'm gonna come down, and I keep on playing the anthem. Yeah, I might need to move the blanket a little bit. So I want to actually have, with this Stonehenge, mostly my calves on here, not all the way my knees. That is an option as well, but I find it very hard on the knees, just kind of the weight of the feet. So I'm going a little bit back, and the blanket feels right when I'm doing it like this. So it might just be what I need today. Sometimes it feels, for me, that the lower back is just kind of pressured down. So if you feel that, move your blanket a little bit, or put more underneath your lower back. So once you've settled in, you can also put a blanket or a towel underneath your head. Even if you have something left, use all your props on your belly for grounding. And again, a few moments here. Let the next inhale become deeper again. Exhale slowly and fully. Remove anything on the top of the body, and then one by one, place the feet down on your stonehenge. And then very slowly bring your knees into your chest. Rocking from side to side a little. And then rock all the way over to one side. Stay there for the breath. And then come up. And you can sit. It's time to close our practice. I think, yes. Hands at the heart. And trust that you have restored balance in the body, even though it might not feel that way. Trust that your nervous system has been balanced. Trust that healing happened if it needed to happen. And trust that whatever you're feeling at this moment is perfect. Any color of your emotions, any thought, any sensation. And bow your head to your beautiful radiant heart. And offer this practice to energetically to someone who needs it but might not be able to practice. Maybe even someone we don't know that is currently in the hospital or is working so hard they don't even have time. Send the goodness of this practice to that person. Namaste. Thank you, yogis, on both platforms. I hope that was helpful for you. And it will stay on Instagram for 24 hours. You can do it again. And it will stay on our Facebook page, also called The Natural Yogi Without Madrid, for forever until this page doesn't exist anymore or the internet collapses altogether. And remember, this is a very good practice too. I will also probably post it on my YouTube channel, so it's gonna be everywhere if you need it. So remember, this is really good also before sleep. So if you've been experiencing some insomnia, which is very normal in these times, if you've experiencing anxiety, also very normal, of course, all kind of vata things, which is air and space. It's just stress, basically. If you've been experiencing that, this is really good to do every evening before bed, even if it's one of these 3 poses that we've done. Very simple poses. You can even do them in bed or next to your bed. So yeah, please use it if this felt beneficial for you. Send it to anyone that you feel might benefit from it. And I will see you again on, I think, Friday or Thursday, one of these days, I think Friday, with Vinyasa. So have a really good evening. I hope you sleep well this full moon, and I'll see you soon. Bye.